r/just no mother-in-law. Mom refused to purchase the book I published. Thanks to Reddit I sold over 200 copies, leaving her speechless. Updated. Update. Advice wanted. So, a while ago I posted on a few subs about my mom and how she's been unsupportive towards my creative work. Technically I suppose this is an update, but right after my post blew up I decided to delete it, for reasons I'll share in a minute. For a quick background on my original post and my history with mom. My mother is extremely talented. Ever since she was little she would write musical pieces and play the piano, and dog riding up I always looked up to and admired her talents. But she's a farm wife. She wakes up at 5 AM to help with the chores around the house and to raise us kids. So she's never really done anything with her life regarding her musical talent, although she could have. People would call her and ask her to play piano for certain events, such as church, charity events in town etc. And she did maybe twice my lifetime, but for the most part always refused. When I asked why, she said she doesn't want it to turn into a thing and people would continue to call her day and night demanding her to play for them, is what she feared would happen in her mind. Anyways, so my mother has a good heart. She's the kind who puts my drawings up on the fridge as a kid. As a teen she paid for my violin lessons and would go to my concerts etc. But she would hold me back in other aspects. I wanted to post videos of myself playing violin on YouTube and Facebook, but she convinced me it was a horrible idea because people could negatively comment or maybe not like it at all. So I always just did what she said and believed her. I wanted to enter competitions, but she would say, "Do you really think that's a good idea? You don't want people to call you up all the time to play for events like they do for me. It's such a pain." And I was convinced that yes, that would be horrible. So she made me hide my violin whenever company came over because she convinced me it would be so awkward to play in front of people, and eventually I gave up altogether and haven't played in years. Fast forward to now, I've always loved writing and dreamed of being an author. But due to my mother's mindset she had me convinced that normal people don't really get published, that the reason why people like J.K. Rowling got published was because she's had connections to the publishing industry and had to probably pay millions out of her pocket to advertise herself. I literally thought this way until last year when I saw a documentary about how JKR was a single mom and got rejected 13 times before finally getting published. So long story short, I got inspired and excited and did my research and decided to self-publish a book I wrote. I have a different novel that I want to send to an actual publishing company eventually, but for now I'm happy to get my work out. And I'm so proud. It's up on Amazon. It has a cover, has my picture, my name, it's real, and people can actually purchase it and read it. I was pumped. So of course I excitedly told my parents. My dad was thrilled. He picked up his laptop and added it to his cart, but mum stopped him and said it's $15 plus shipping. Just leave it in the cart until December so I can get a discount when I do my Christmas shopping. I was devastated. What? My book is right there, online. To buy, to read. Why do you want to wait 6 months? But my dad shrugged his shoulders and bought it anyways. Bless him. Mum simply sighed and went on to her business as dad continued to talk to me about how long it took me to write it etc, and mum would steer the conversation away. By the way, Harold, I ran into Evelyn the other day, but he would interrupt her and continue talking to me. This went on for months. Dad read my book as soon as possible, showed it to all his friends, posted it on FB, but with mum it was radio silence. She never posted it, never spoke of it to her sister or her friends. Nada. She never even read it, and it's been months later. So I was bummed and posted my story here on Reddit, and many of you were so kind and supportive, and it ended up getting so big that my mum found the post because a friend showed it to her. She was upset, livid, and I was embarrassed she found my post and my account, so I deleted everything. There was a lot of back and forth, and I had no choice but to tell her the truth that her doing that had really upset me. She kept saying stuff like she was just too busy to read it and had too much on her mind to talk about my book. I told her that was unfair, and we didn't talk for a few weeks. I packed up my shiz out of my parents' place and moved to the city, 4 hours away, quitting my job on a neighboring farm, and decided to go to school for writing and actually doing something with my life. Then the pandemic happened. My mum continued to call to say I told you, so I told you leaving home to chase some wild unrealistic dream was a bad idea. I'm basically screwed. My savings are running low, and no schools are really accepting anything yet, and I've forgotten all about the Reddit post in my book. Until this week. I've been handing out resumes everywhere. McDonald's, Walmart. I don't care, I just need something. I'm so desperate and do not want to move back in with mom. Then I get an email from Amazon saying they deposited the money I made from the books I sold. They pay you every 3 months. Curious, I decide to look, and what I see had me crying with joy. Because of my last Reddit post I sold about 200 copies. I'm speechless. It's not a crazy amount of money, but it's enough to last me another 2 months or so as I look for a job, and so I'm just incredibly thankful for everyone's support, and I truly regret deleting my original post. I was able to tell my parents and gloat. My mum was speechless and my dad is incredibly proud. Eventually she came around and told me she wrote a book too. It's of all her music, and I'm going to help her publish it. We aren't 100%, but we are a bit better than before. Mostly she expressed to me that she's scared of rejection and isn't ready to show people her work. I'm really hoping things will be better from here, but I still feel a little uneasy. Does counseling really work? TLDR, mum agreed to go to family counseling with me. I'm wary and worried it might drift us further apart. I bought your book as well. I love paranormal stuff and the reviews look promising. I can't wait to read it. Proud of you. I have to admit that all my life I was like your mom, in that I was so afraid to perform or play music in front of people, or share short stories I wrote for fear of failure and rejection. I have a son and I noticed he also seemed shy about sharing his art or stories and lacked confidence, and I couldn't understand why, and it made me so sad. I have always cheered him on and encouraged him to share and be proud of anything he does because he is talented, and I realized that maybe he learned from watching my behavior and lack of self-confidence. Since that day I started to try. I'm pleased to say that I worked so hard on my confidence that I trained and became certified to teach group fitness, which has always been my dream. All because I wanted to show my son that he can do anything he puts his mind to. My hope is that this will happen with your mom too, and better late than never. How cool would it be if she started writing and playing music again? I wish you luck, and am buying the kind version of your book. I bought your book. It looks awesome. Just ordered a copy. I bought a copy and I can't wait to read it. You want to know something funny? I went to buy your book because of this post. Amazon informed me that I had already purchased it, lol. So some of your sales are just organic. I have read yet. Sorry, I'm that person that has a huge collection to be read. Can I just say this is the dumbest possible response to the pandemic? You took a sensible, calculated risk that made perfect sense at the time with the information you had available to you, and she's gloating because you didn't magically guess that the whole world would shut down for months because of the pandemic. Is she actually trying to suggest that she saw this coming somehow, and that was why she didn't want you to leave? That's like full on delusional. A good counselor will help. A bad one can make things worse. The biggest thing with going to therapy with another person is that both parties must be open-minded and willing to see where they have been wrong. If one person is resistant or can't take the truth, they often give up, which hurts and frustrates the other party. Congrats on the book. What genre is it? Her book. Pause. Hey guys, just wanted to quickly say that I'll link to OP's book in the description. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Okay, back to the video. Sounds like she was projecting her insecurities. Good for you, you rock. It's so nice to see a happy ending on this sub. Really, you are great. I'm so sorry. I know how much it sucks. I've done the same thing. Wrote and published 2 books on Amazon. My dad was hyped to be a proofreader and was always so helpful. Same thing with my sister. My dad even mentioned my really brief sex scene was really well written, and he really thought the relationship was real. That was awfully awkward, but appreciated all the same. My mom didn't give a shiz for the longest time. Didn't read either. Neither did anyone else in my family. I never even wanted praise. I had the stories in me, and I needed to get them out. I expected nothing, and got less than that. I've sold maybe 10 copies total between both books. I don't really care. I never even advertise them. I'm just super proud I wrote 2 coherent books. It's a huge accomplishment, isn't it? You're awesome for doing it too, and going even further to follow your dream. Congratulations. I think my dad eventually talked to my mom, or she saw my posts here on Reddit about my disappointment a few years ago. She finally did read them, but too little too late, right? I hope you can mend things with your mom. I love my mom, but it's always going to be a sour spot in my heart. I hope you guys can work it out. If you like this video and want to see more like it, I upload new content every day. Hit that bell if you want to be notified when the daily upload drops. I cringe just typing that. Have a wonderful day.